No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Friday Night Smackdown for April 21st, 2023. Shout out to the early birds, Mohammed, Calvin Bowman, Matthew, Son of a Buck, Dave Scheffler, K-Dog 28, Walter Cruz, of course, and Endeavor Representative sent in a $5 super chat right off the bat. Says, I'm probably going to personally see to it that whoever wrote that show is immediately fired and has their entire retirement fund wiped clean. We expect effort. There you have it from Endeavor Representative. Now, what did I think of the show? Did I think that it was that lackluster? Well, let's break it down. We kicked off SmackDown with a tag team match. Holla, holla, holla. We had Finn Balor and Damian Priest going up against Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar, the LWO. They were wearing the LWO t-shirts. Match was standard. Your average tag team match, back and forth throughout most of it. Rey Mysterio got a hot tag, and Damian Priest ended up tagging in to save Balor from the 619. Escobar came in, he was tagged in, and he came off the top with a splash to Balor, but Balor was not the legal man. Damian Priest took advantage, pinned Escobar with the South of Heaven chokeslam. It was very straightforward here. Clean win. No Rhea Ripley on this show, or Dominic Mysterio for that matter. Judgment Day gets the clean win. And then after the match, Damian Priest got on the mic and hyped up Monday Night Raw. He said that he hopes Bad Bunny's visit to Raw in Chicago will go better than the last time Bad Bunny was on Raw. And of course, on that Raw, the night after WrestleMania, Bad Bunny was chokeslammed through a table by Damian Priest. Match was good, but it was very standard. Backstage, we had Zelina Vega meeting up with Adam Pearce, and she said that she wants a SmackDown women's title match at Backlash. She said that she's the only female Puerto Rican wrestler on the roster. People have always said she would never amount to anything because of her height. She said she had something to prove, and Adam Pearce responded by saying he'll talk to upper management, he'll talk to the women's champion, Rhea Ripley, and get back to her. Now, apparently this happened relatively quickly because later on in the evening, it was announced that Zelina Vega will challenge Rhea Ripley at Backlash. And I suppose we can talk about the additions to Backlash right now and get that out of the way. WWE confirmed 3 new matches. This was one of them. Zelina Vega, she'll be over in Puerto Rico, but she ain't winning. Just like anytime Santos Escobar is in a tag team match, you know he's eating the pinfall. You know Zelina Vega does not have a snowball's chance in hell of winning the title from Rhea Ripley. This is Rhea Ripley's first successful title defense. It is what it is. We had 2 other matches announced. A triple threat match. Bronson Reed and Bobby Lashley will both challenge Austin Theory for the United States title. Why not just do Bronson Reed versus Bobby Lashley? But we have a triple threat match now set for Backlash, and I guess this one might be hard to predict. One would think Austin Theory will retain the title, but who knows? And then the third match is the one that I'm really perplexed about. Seth freaking Rollins, one-on-one with Omos. Yes, Rollins versus Omos. Somebody tell me, when did they ever interact with each other? I feel like it's never happened. This seems like the most random ass premium live event match that WWE has announced in a very long time. Like, what the hell? Why are they doing this? This should just be on an episode of Raw. Like, there was nothing, not even a little tease backstage, like Seth Rollins bumps into Omos and offends him or something. Nothing. Rollins could have spilled coffee on Omos. They could have done a shampoo commercial backstage. Nothing to set up this match for Backlash. The only thing that I can gather from this is maybe it's just another win for Seth Rollins. And let's face it, Omos is not beating him. Seth Rollins beats Omos, and it's not quite as impressive since Brock Lesnar just beat him. But you know what? Seth Rollins gets a big win, and maybe Seth Rollins challenges Roman Reigns before Roman gets to 1,000 days. I would like that. If this is leading to that, Rollins picks up a huge win and challenges Roman Reigns on the SmackDown 999 days before Roman hits 1,000. I'm fine with that. I'll accept that, but it just seems so random. Like, why not at least do an angle on Raw and then announce the match? At least do something. They just announced it with no rhyme or reason whatsoever. Very bizarre. Endeavor representative sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, perhaps the rumors are true that Triple H wants the draft to be a clean slate and fresh start, and they are just buying time. They are like scared of me. Well, Endeavor representative, they know that they have to answer to you now, and they better get their act straight and start announcing matches after there's a storyline reason for these matches to happen. Just my opinion, and I'm sure you would agree with me on that, Endeavor representative. The reason I have the AEW shirt, by the way, is on Wednesday, I had the Raw background during the Dynamite recap. I felt I had to make up for what happened. Anyways, we had a Shinsuke Nakamura and Karrion Kross video package. Kross recapped what he's done to others on the roster, which isn't really much, but they tried to say that Kross was responsible for Rey Mysterio finally losing his cool and accepting the match with Dominic. And Kross said he's going to take away Shin's honor. You know, they could have announced this match for Backlash. At least they had some little tease of a feud with these guys, but whatever. We had Ricochet and Braun Strowman teaming up against the Viking Raiders in a tag team match. Holla, holla, holla. Strowman tried to power slam Ivar, but Eric tagged in. They double teamed Strowman. Ricochet tagged in. Vikings were sent to the outside. Ricochet with a dive over the top onto both of them. But then Sarah Logan got on the apron for a distraction, and she did it a second time once Braun Strowman started to make a comeback for his team. He did the Strowman Express, but then Sarah Logan yelled at him. Viking Raiders regained the upper hand. Ivar came off the top with a top rope splash. Strowman kicked out. Ricochet tagged back in. Strowman actually threw Ricochet over the top, and I think the idea was for Strowman to launch Ricochet into the Viking Raiders, but Strowman ended up just throwing Ricochet over the top, and Ricochet crashed on the mat. Clearly a botch here, but they recovered from it, and Ricochet got up on Strowman's shoulders, came off with a big splash onto Ivar, and got the 1-2-3 victory. Match was fine for what it was, just just a SmackDown TV match, nothing too special. Again, standard tag team match. Ricochet and Strowman get the win. They could have done this on the pay-per-view, quite frankly. They've at least teased it over the past few weeks, unlike Seth Rollins versus Omos. We had a tag team match. Holla, holla, holla. Third straight tag team match. Did Teddy Long book this show? Like, they didn't even separate the tag matches. They just did 3 in a row. It was like a tag team SmackDown for this first hour. We had Liv Morgan and Raquel defending their titles against Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, the Karens or the complainers, whatever you want to call them. Sonya cut a little promo before the match, told the fans to show them respect, and then Chelsea threw water, squirted water at Liv Morgan once again, and that just pissed off Liv. That fired her up. She went right after Chelsea when the match started. Raquel tried to slam Chelsea on the floor, but Sonya Deville made the save. Liv Morgan came over the top with a dive onto both of them. And then back in the ring, the challengers got the upper hand for a bit. They double suplexed Liv. They tried to cheat, feet on the ropes. That did not work. Raquel got the hot tag, gave Sonya a superplex. Liv came in with a missile drop kick to Chelsea Green. Things started to break down. And then Liv Morgan took a page out of Chelsea's playbook. Liv poured water onto Chelsea, went for a pin, and Raquel from the outside of the ring gave a little assistance, kind of like what the Usos did to retain their titles in several matches. And the champs got the 1-2-3 victory. So they did technically cheat, but it was a little bit of payback for what Chelsea and Sonya were doing. Match was fine. Again, pretty standard match, and I think it was obvious how this one was playing out. But I like that they used Chelsea's own little water trick against her for the win. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat says, any opponent before 1,000 days, it's just filler. Roman is holding on to that title until at least SummerSlam when he drops it to Cody. That is true, but I still think they should do Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns if they're going to have a match. And I think he needs to have a match before he hits 1,000. And Seth Rollins is the one guy that Roman did not successfully defend his title against. I think it at least makes sense. It's going to be obvious how it plays out, but still, I do think they should do it. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Much appreciated. Says, Braun Strowman needs to turn heel, beat Ricochet's ass, and become Monster Braun again. Do something with him. Why bring back a 7-footer back for his shitty booking? Braun Strowman just feels like a guy. They brought him back, and he hasn't really made much of an impact. And, well, you could say that about several guys on the WWE roster. And we'll see what happens with this draft coming up and some NXT stars being called up. Like, you're going to have an even more bloated roster. Do WWE continue on with this bloated roster, or do they make some cuts? That remains to be seen. We had Matt Riddle cut a little backstage promo vowing to bury Solo under the table this time. Last time they had a match, Solo buried Riddle under a table. And then we had not a tag team match, but a singles match. Gunther versus Xavier Woods. I mean, nobody believed for a second that Xavier was winning, but it was a pretty solid match. Gunther worked over Xavier. Xavier kept trying to fight, very much the underdog here. Gunther was trash talking, and that fired up Xavier. Xavier almost beat Gunther on several occasions, multiple near falls. Woods even avoided the power bomb, but then Gunther caught him, got him in the sleeper, and the referee stopped the match. Not a squash. Xavier did get in some offense and had Gunther in a close call a few times, but no surprise overall. Gunther retains, and we'll see. Maybe Big E returns soon, and it's Big E versus Gunther for the Intercontinental title, unless Gunther goes over to Raw. We'll have to wait and see what happens next week during the draft. We had a WrestleMania recap of the tag team title match, and we had the Usos coming down to the ring for a promo. They made fun of how Riddle talks, how he says dude all the time. It was pretty funny. The Usos, when they do the accent of a Caucasian, I always find it amusing. They do a really good job with it, making fun of the stoner guy in Riddle. Like, Jay's really entertaining. He always does a great job with this stuff, and same thing with Jimmy. They said they will be dedicating the tag team title match, the rematch, to Roman Reigns. They said next week they'll become 9-time tag team champions, and they said that the gold will be coming back to the bloodline. They then introduced Solo Sikoa for the main event. Riddle, his music hit, but he attacked Solo from behind to start off the no DQ match, but Solo quickly gained control, and it was your standard no DQ match, meaning kendo sticks and steel chairs. They took turns hitting each other with the kendo stick, and at one point Riddle sent Solo into a chair that was set up in the corner, and then Riddle suplexed Solo onto 2 chairs that was set up in the middle of the ring. They fought on the outside, and Solo was going to try and tip over the table onto Riddle, but Riddle used his feet to prevent that from happening. And then it was Riddle that lived up to his promise. He was the one that tipped over the table onto Solo. But then the Usos showed up. Surprise, surprise. I mean, we all saw this one coming too. Usos attacked Riddle. Riddle fought them off with the floating bro and then went back after Solo. But Solo had recovered, and Riddle was in shock over this. Riddle tried to fight off Solo, but Solo gave Riddle the Uranagi on the apron. They got back in the ring. Solo missed his first Samoan spike attempt, but then he was able to hit it on the second try. It looked more like a clothesline, and even Michael Cole was confused, but it was apparently a Samoan spike, and Solo got the win. After the match was over, the assault continued. Usos gave Riddle a 1D through the table. Michael Cole said on commentary that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were not there, hence no save. And apparently they're Riddle's only friends. But yeah, they did not show up, and that was that. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat, says, I would use an NXT call-up to beat Gunther. It would make an instant star, but don't do it until he beats the Honky Tonk Man's record. Someone can really be made. Well, I think that someone, I'm going to call in now. I think it's going to be Braun Breaker that defeats Gunther. And I believe they had a match in NXT right before Gunther went to the main roster. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Braun Breaker is going to be the guy if I had to make a bold prediction. Overall, SmackDown was fine. Like, the wrestling was good. I'm not going to deny that. Was it a really eventful show? No, not particularly. It was more about setting up next week's show. The match outcomes were predictable. I'm going to go B-. I was thinking C+, but the wrestling was good. And I still thought it was a good show, but a little lackluster. B- hovering in the C+ territory. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Psycho, and thank you, Walter. Thank you, everyone, for the super chats. Says, sounds like you don't like standard matches or matches that are too predictable. Are you expecting 5-star matches every week from WWE television? No, but I do expect more storyline development and just a more entertaining show with some plot development, twists and turns. No real big storyline on this show. Just it felt like the attitude going in was, well, we have the draft next week. This is a lame duck show. We'll just throw those guys out there, do some matches, have the champions retain, which is fine, but it's not must see. It was a good show, but it was skippable. That's why I think a B- is fair. And it's still not a real negative review of the show. I still think that it was a perfectly acceptable 2-hour show. Just something you could have skipped and you would not have missed much. Anyways, guys, that's it for the SmackDown recap. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment on YouTube. And stay tuned. NoDQ.com coming up with the No DQ review Saturday night. A special Saturday night edition of the No DQ review. April 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. So TJS, somebody let TJS know. If you're his Facebook friend or you follow him on Twitter, let him know. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific is the No DQ review. Thank you all again. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great one. And I will see you all next time. Say yes to NoDQ.com. Take care, everybody.